Hey guys, it's Professor Image here. And before I start the story, I just want you to know this is the first part of a story called The Last Straw. Now, this is a short story that I immediately had to think about for a second before I got it. The Last Straw is a short story. Has 5 parts. It has some implications of adult content. So, I want you to know that this is about fancy pants and rarity. Not the best time to do this, but I figured it would be a good story. And so, also, I do believe you should think about the storyline behind it. So since there's 5 parts, I want you to know that this is a great story to read if you can find it on Google. So hopefully I can do this. Hopefully it will turn out good. So without further ado, let's begin. Another day, another fight. Part 1. It used to be every other month. Then it was every other week. Now it's every other day. No pony could remember the last time they actually got along. They fought over the littlest things, but one day, things took a turn for the worst. It was dinner time. The whole family was sitting at the table to enjoy some delicious delicacies, prepared by yours truly. The mayor of the hour, a loving mother of 2, a successful fashionista, Rarity. Across from her was her most self-absorbed, snooty, stuck-up pony any pony's ever seen, Fancy Pants. Along with her 2 children, Gemstone and Royal Crystal. Gemstone, dear, would you mind passing me the salt, please? Rarity asked her in most polite voice. Sure, Mom, the unicorn said as she reached for it. But before she could, she was interrupted by a magical force field. It was her father, using his magic to pick it up. Please, allow me, Fancy said snootily, trying to sound as much as a gentle pony as he could. But I asked Gemstone for it, dear, she said, gritting her teeth. Every pony could tell she was holding back her anger with all her strength she could muster up. It was about to happen. It was always easy to tell when another fight was starting. The children, mostly Gemstone, just wished it could end, and wished it would. They wished that all the pointless fights they had didn't get too out of hand and didn't need to be, just disappeared. Poof, gone. But alas, they didn't stop. They kept becoming louder and more physical every time. I just wanted to pass the salt to my lovely wife. Is that the crime? Fancy tried to sound as innocent as possible. Every pony could tell he was faking it, though. That's it. I can't take it anymore. Rarity flung herself to the ground, laying hard with a sound thump, and started stomping angrily with her hooves. I can't take your I'm better than you attitude any longer. You are a terrible husband and a terrible father to your children. You've become like all the other city ponies. You're so stuck up, snooty, self-absorbed. You're driving me crazy. Rarity was sweating and huffing intensely. You could almost see the veins in her neck popping out. Oh yeah? Well, you're the biggest drama queen ever I met in my life. You have like 7 of your fainting couches. You need 7 couches specifically for fainting. And you know what? That dress you wore the other day did make you look fat. Every pony gasped. No pony called Rarity fat. No pony. Ever. They fought, and Rarity was going to burst. But right before she did, she took a deep breath and calmed down. Something no pony has ever seen before. Coming from Rarity. That's funny, because I thought I saw some pony else with the same exact dress while she was window shopping with you. Fleur-de-lis, was it? Rarity spoke melancholy. Every pony in the room felt a tingle of their spines. Even Opal, who was cleaning herself in the corner of the room. Fancy gasped. How do you know about that? Fancy's tone was steady and deep. Neither Jim nor Royal had ever seen the side of either of their parents. They thought it was about time they intervened before something serious happened. Oh, I was out of my mid-morning walk with the girls when I saw you. But don't worry, I also saw a lot of Chinderhoof while you were away, Rarity said sharply. Her tone was innocent like Fancy had tried to do before she failed at. But it could also be cut like a knife. How dare you! Fancy scoffed and lunged at her. Rarity did the same, but Jim and Royal jumped in his way before things could escalate any further. Stop it, both of you! I can't take this anymore! Jim shouted as loud as she could. She was panting in anger as well. Fancy and Rarity shared the same surprised expression on their faces. They never saw this side of her before. She's right. I can't take this either. Always fighting, never getting along. Strawberry is insane. Everybody else, too. You know ponies talk about you, right? It's embarrassing. All the ponies scoff at us in the streets when they see us bicker at each other. It has to stop. Robert shouted as well, making their parents feel guilty. You're right, Will. I'm so sorry I caused such agony. Rarity wept as she told her children to close. I'm sorry too. I should have known better than to pick on the streets in front of every pony. What was I thinking? My reputation has been going down the drain, Fancy yelled, putting his hooves in his head in distress. All children have suffered because of our actions, and all you can do is think about is your reputation? Rarity yelled once more. That's it. Get out of this house. You are sleeping in your own apartment tonight. The next morning, Fancy woke up dreadfully to his broken down, junky apartment and a pain in his back. His old lumpy mattress beneath him always made him hate mornings. When he was going to replace the old thing, why was he here? Then he remembered the fight. Rarity kicked him out. This was the only place he could go. Although, come to think of it, he couldn't quite remember how he got there. He sat up and noticed that the empty wine bottle was on the floor. He hadn't had that many drinks by himself, and Celestia noticed how long. Then he looked over to see a figure in his bed. It definitely wasn't Rarity. He jumped a little, surprised by the fact that there was another pony in his apartment. Who was it? He slowly lifted the covers to show a white horn and a curled light pink mane with white stripes. He immediately dropped the covers in disbelief. Was he really in bed with Fleur-de-lis? This had to be a dream. He pinched himself. Not dreaming. What can you do? She started moving. She was waking up. Think fast, Fancy thought to himself. Alas, he could do nothing but sit there and stare in shock. She waked her head up from the covers. Hey there, Fancy. How did you sleep? Her conversation was light and casual. Not what Fancy had expected. Fine, he said hesitantly. He wasn't quite sure what was happening. I'm gonna whip up some breakfast in bed. Don't go anywhere, Fleur said giggly and like she had a crush. Of course, he got up as soon as she left the room. He needed to get out of there and clear his head. Did he really just do that? When what did he do? He noticed the mail had arrived through the mail slot in the door. He picked it up and took a closer look. Divorce papers. Hey, Pony. I hope you guys enjoyed this interesting story. I came up with it while I drew the cover art. Well, not this cover art. It was different, but I really couldn't show you because I lost it somehow. Fleur and Trenderhoof are married in the original story, other story that I wrote. Anyways, this was inspired by a lot of different things. I kind of didn't think about the last straw in my own time. I actually had to do it in a deadline because it was kind of like a bit different with the story and the way I tell it. I kind of had a different vision of it, to be honest, but it was kind of a different kind of story to tell altogether. So, I mean, I enjoyed it a lot, but I think it was just a bit different with what we were trying to explain here. So, as you can tell, Rarity is upset with Fancy Pants. Fancy Pants is just like a snooty, kind of uptight pony. If you can tell. In fact, I do believe I have proof. Fancy Pants is kind of a regal pony. I wouldn't say he's very polite in any way, or any, kind of, he's just rude to every pony. So that was a bit proof. I don't believe, he's always like this, but I mean, it does kind of sound like a complete mix-up with what... I mean, his wife, Fleur-de-Lis, obviously is the same as him. Stature as of an alicorn, but obviously a unicorn. The divorce will be in part 2. That part is about the divorce papers that actually tell everything about the story. But anyways, that's the prologue of the story. Anyways, guys, I will see you guys in the next video.